What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Corey Austin Theorem. So, listen, as far as the P. Diddy case, I want to be clear. I run a YouTube channel, I'm a content creator. Anything that I say on here is simply just an opinion, a little bit of speculation based on articles that we're seeing, things that are being put out by our media outlets. I want to be clear, I do not know any of the facts of any of these cases. These are simply speculations and opinions, and we can only have those two things based on what the media outlets put forth. Now, I try to vet the sources as much as I can, and if it looks just absolutely ridiculous, there's times where I'll just be like, oh, that's obviously bullshit, right? But some of the other stuff, especially when it involves minors, things that may not be able to be put out into the public forum as of yet because the age of these victims, right? Whether it be now, the age of these victims at the time of the supposed victimization by Diddy, it that's one of those things where we can only speculate. Listen, by the end of this video, I feel like I can say with some relative level of confidence that Justin Bieber is one of the people that is possibly on one of these P. Diddy sex freak off tapes that were taken at his home. Now, listen, we've all seen the weird video of Justin Bieber with P. Diddy when he was something like 13 years old, and P. Diddy's talking about, he has custody of him over the next 48 hours and the type of stuff they're going to do, they can't talk about, but it's of, 13-year-old's dream or a 15-year-old's dream or whatever it was. Both are minors, so I guess it doesn't really matter, and each are equally disgusting. But with that said, everybody's seen that video, but there was an article that came out via the New York Post relatively recently that was entitled "A-List Star Horrified as Alleged Diddy Sex Tape Gets Pushed to Media Outlets." And in quotes, he feels like he was victimized years ago, right? So obviously that would coincide with Justin Bieber. He's a 30-year-old man at this point. We already know he's experiencing marital problems, okay? And I think that what these articles show is that some of the marital problems that he's experiencing have, if not directly, at least indirectly, or more likely directly, to do with this P. Diddy case, okay? The male A-list celebrity who is subject of an alleged sex tape with Sean Diddy Combs is horrified that the footage is being shopped around to media outlets. Two members of the star's inner circle told the Post. "It's triggering," said one of the insiders. "It feels like a betrayal and a violation, and it's causing a lot of issues. It brings up some really disturbing and bad memories." More than one person is hawking the incriminating footage, which shows a man who appears to be Combs having sex with a younger male, who appears to be the A-lister. Both of their faces are clearly visible in the footage. "It's a total nightmare," said the insider. "He feels like he was victimized years ago and is now being victimized yet again. If this footage gets out, it will follow him for life. It will be on the internet forever." A second source close to the celebrity told the Post that he is trying to ignore the chatter about the video. There's not much more that he can do about it. If there is a video taken without his knowledge that somehow gets out, said the source, so all he can do is pray. He's praying that all of this goes away. At least one of the people peddling the CD tape has not turned it over to the feds. The Post is not naming the A-lister because it's unclear if he was a victim of a sex crime or if he was an adult at the time of the footage, right? So that's one of the reasons that this is remaining anonymous, because based on this supposed footage, they don't know if this was a consensual sort of thing. And even if it was a supposed consensual sort of thing with a minor, that's still a horrifying, lewd act of victimization by the adult, right? I mean, the same reason we have, statutory rape laws. The whole thing is a person of that sort of age, 15, 14, 13, they're not old enough to know what is good for them or what is not good for them. And so it's up to the responsible adult involved to make those sort of decisions, right? And if the adult ignores the responsible thing and has some sort of sexual encounter with a young person of that age, then it is always 1000% of the time considered the adult's fault and responsibility. They are victimizing, and the minor is always a victim, right? Even in cases where the victim, the minor, might have agreed to some sort of sexual interaction or relationship, they still are the victim and the adult is the victimizer. So I want to be clear on that when we go to talk about this. I have a college degree in human development and family studies. I know all about family dynamics, social dynamics, that sort of thing. So when I talk about this, I want to be clear. I'm just doing it in a way of a guy that's just reporting an opinion on certain things. It absolutely bothers me. Am I somewhat desensitized to hearing about stuff that Diddy may have done at this point? Maybe a little bit. It's the same way that I can watch Snapped or Buried in the Backyard, which are documentaries all about murder, and barely bat an eye. I'm a completely non-violent person, but this day and age, you can't help but be somewhat desensitized to the influx of information that you hear about this sort of thing. I mean, it's every other day, let's get real, that we're hearing something different about P. Diddy at this point. But look, let's look at this other article that to me gives a strong indication that it is Justin Bieber that is this supposed A-list celebrity here, okay? Who is the A-list star who is the subject of alleged tape with Sean Diddy Combs? He's horrified the tape is being shopped around. And if you look over here at this other article, spooked Justin Bieber is so panic stricken over being dragged further into Sean Diddy Combs' sex case. But let's revisit just for a second. The first article plainly reads, who is the male A-list star who is the subject of an alleged tape with Sean Diddy Combs? He's horrified the tape is being shopped around. Okay, this is one from, several months ago, obviously right around the time that Diddy was arrested. So this stuff is ongoing, obviously, as far as legally. This other one, January 21st, which was 3 days ago. Spooked Justin Bieber, panic stricken over being dragged further into Sean Diddy Combs' case. Maybe he was victimized as a minor by Sean Diddy Combs, and maybe now knowing that the feds raided the home of the disgraced mogul and found hundreds of cameras set up everywhere to film possible sexual interactions and things like that at the freak offs and the Diddy parties and all the rest of it, if he being Justin Bieber was victimized and some sexual act did take place between himself and Sean Puffy Combs during that time, now that he knows cameras were everywhere, obviously the first thing he is going to think is that maybe it was filmed. Maybe there's a tape of me doing XYZ. And I just want to be clear about something. I want to say this right out of the gate. If something did happen and to him and he was victimized by Sean Diddy Combs, whether he said yes or not, he was completely victimized and taken advantage of. I mean, you can imagine being, a 13-year-old kid and you're standing in front of, somebody who you idolize and almost see as a hero, right? And someone who has the sort of star power of P. Diddy standing in front of you. You can only imagine how that sort of overbearing influence could have on a minor. You can absolutely see Justin Bieber, agreeing to, or maybe not agreeing to, but just allowing it to happen, being forced to kind of be in a situation that obviously he didn't want to be in, but he simply did it because this is Sean Combs. And I would do about anything that this guy asked, you know? And that's sick. That's sick. Just go straight back to this power play of Sean Diddy Combs, not giving two shits as to how any victim might have felt. All about him. So yeah, so there's that. Let me keep reading a little bit. Justin Bieber being dragged into Sean Diddy Combs' legal woes is said to have put a strain on his marriage to Hailey Bieber. Following the music mogul's arrest on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, the Baby singer's close relationship with Combs, 55, as a teen resurfaced and was heavily scrutinized, with many critics speculating whether or not he was one of the Bad Boy Records founders' alleged victims. Now spooked, Bieber, 30, is said to be so panic stricken over being sucked into the salacious case he's turned into a basket case, and it's allegedly putting pressure on his already shaky marriage to the Rhode skincare founder. Sources said Justin is sweating bullets, fearing he's going to get served with a subpoena and have to recount every lurid thing that he saw while under Diddy's wing. And it's left Hailey, who has long deflected divorce rumors, wondering where all of this will leave her husband and her marriage. Okay, so we already know that. Well, no, I'm sorry. The Stay singer was just 13 years old in 2008 when he was signed to Usher's music label. Through Usher, he met Combs and became the scandal-scarred rapper's protege and sidekick. A disturbing video of the pair revealed a teenage Bieber and Combs spent a weekend together in 2009. In the video, Combs said, "What we're doing we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. We're going to go full crazy." All right, everybody's seen that, okay? Why would Justin Bieber be sweating bullets if absolutely no victimization happened? If nothing happened, nothing went down, why would he be sweating bullets? Now, listen, obviously, the easy answer to that is, well, hell, nobody wants to get dragged into the kind of shitstorm that's surrounding P. Diddy right now. Obviously, that's the quick and easy answer. And I wouldn't blame him at all. Even if nothing did happen with him and P. Diddy, which I think it did. Not Bieber's fault, by the way. It's all P. Diddy's fault. I want to be clear on that. But him sweating bullets and being completely panic stricken and things like this, these are salacious terms that are synonymous with someone who is scared that something is going to resurface, that is going to open scars and open old wounds that he himself sustained during that period of his life, right? And he's got a song that people, a lot of people think that the lyrics to the song are alluding to his possible victimization with P. Diddy and all that. And I'm not going to go all into that, but I'm going to, one more time before I move on to the next thing, and then we're going to bounce. The two articles, the one back in October, who is the male A-list star who is the subject of an alleged tape with Sean Diddy Combs? He's horrified the tape is being shopped around. And it also talks about in this same article that they're not saying who this is because they don't know if the person, if it was for one, if it was a sex crime on the part of Diddy, They don't know because they don't know the age of this person, right? At the time that was in the video. And they don't know if this person was of age at the time. As disgusting as it may sound, if this is a, you know, 18, 19-year-old Justin Bieber, and there's some sort of tape that came out and he and Diddy or, whatever, whatever, then I know it's disgusting, but it's a completely different conversation, or could potentially be. Just like they're talking about, Diddy's team is taking the stance of, oh, this is just an alternative lifestyle he had. Yeah, they had orgies and sex parties and all the rest of it, but everyone knew what was going on. Everyone knew what the deal was. It was all consensual. It was blah blah blah. Because all of this stuff that is being accused, being levied, these accusations being levied towards Diddy, all goes away with the word consent, with one word, consent. And you're like, well, no, because they said he's drugged people too. Well, that takes away consent then, right? I mean, you drug somebody and they pass out, and then you do whatever with them. That there's no consent there. That's not consensuality. Okay, so those two, are one and the same. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying here. And then, okay, he's horrified the tape is being shopped around. This very next article, who just came out 3 days ago, spooked Justin Bieber is so panic stricken over being dragged further into Sean Diddy Combs' sex case. Why would he be so concerned if he was not afraid that there was something involving him directly that could potentially be surfaced and leaked to the public? Oh, man. I feel bad for that kid, dude, because I just want to say to him that, if something did happen, which I think it did, that's not your fault, dude. It's not your fault. Especially if you were a kid. You know, doesn't make you any different, any less of a person. No, I know that's your. I know how. Well, I can only imagine how it will make you feel. But as far as anybody who has half of a brain who looks at that, you know, I personally wouldn't look at you any different. I wouldn't think, oh, he's gay or something. No, no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. You were a victim, bro, in that case. Even if you didn't stop him, even if you agreed to do it, you are a victim in that case, right? I just want to be clear on that because the internet's a hateful place, and there's already all this hateful shit going on. I don't need people coming after me for it, which I'm sure they will anyway. Because most people will watch like 2 minutes of it and then fire off some hateful comment and then bounce to the next video because everybody has an ADD. It's okay, I have ADD too. I take medication for it though. That's the difference. If you're not taking your medication, don't comment on my video. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a quick video of a girl that Tupac used to date, I believe it is. And we're going to listen to a couple of things she has to say. And when you hear this, it's one of those things where, okay, yeah, it kind of makes you believe that, yeah, Diddy is just a shit person. He's just the kind of person that would do whatever. As long as it made the other person feel this small, and as long as it was him being able to exert some measure of control or complete full control over another human being, he would do about anything. He would do about anything, you know. And there's all these questions, was he straight? Was he gay? I mean, there's men accusing him of this, that, and the third. Was he gay? It don't matter. If it was something that someone else didn't want to do, his sickness was sexual, but in addition to that, his sickness was an excitement that he got from being able to control people and force people to do things that even they didn't want him to do. just from being who he is, just from being who, it made him feel good to be able to say, I'm so rich and I'm so powerful that I can make dudes who aren't even gay do blah blah blah, right? I mean, that's I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but that's literally what we're looking at here. So let's watch a little bit of this video. We're going to react to it and then we're going to bounce. All right, so check it out.
Okay, so with all of the recent headlines about Puffy and all of the allegations of the drugging and the abuse and all
hmm
the drugs that he's allegedly on,
hmm
are you surprised by any of the headlines?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Oh, why, Miss? Why, Desiree? Why?
Because I know a lot of people that know him. I met one of his old security guards, and I've been to the tea about him. Weird shit, liking strap-ons. I met this girl one time that did a photo shoot for him. It's a nice young lady from Canada. And me and her ended up going on vacation together. And a few months later, and she told me something that she saw go down at his house in the Hamptons. And then a few months later, she told me that she went hanging out with like his bodyguard and his entourage, and somebody drugged her and she doesn't know what happened. So none of this is alarming. And then she went back to Canada.
And
So,
how long ago was this? Was this in the
oh,
90s?
this was in the 2000s, maybe. Mm, Yeah, maybe like around 2004, 2006, somewhere around there.
Mm.
He's been doing
Yeah, the earliest allegations that I could find date back to like what, 91, 92, where he supposedly drugged a girl and she doesn't remember what happened.
That's a similar
That's
story to what I heard from somebody that I know is not, I know she's not lying because she had no reason to lie. First, she told me she saw somebody doing something to him, and she walked in and she thought, he didn't, he never said nothing. He didn't even acknowledge her. So she's thinking she's under the radar. Next thing, she's hanging out in Miami, and she comes in back and says she don't know what happened and she woke up, and so you know
what did she say she saw?
someone giving him head. That's as far as I'll go, and then you could do the math.
And obviously, just in case you missed it, the actual title of the video is Diddy receiving blank 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 from a man. So let's be clear. This was a male. So this is the ex-girlfriend of Tupac, and she became very good friends with a model, I believe it was, from Canada. And when they went on vacation together, she confided in her and told her several things that she had seen while at Diddy's home in the Hamptons. And that was one of those things that she walked in on him receiving from a man, right? So you hear one or two off things here and there. You can pass it off. Oh, it's just people, people just trying to get money. But I mean, it gets to a point where when you hear them, you hear the allegations over and over and over and over and over, and they all seem similar in their sinister and salacious nature. After a while, even if there are some falsehoods here and there, you have to, after a while, give merit to quite a lot of it. And it's obvious that for someone like Diddy, he got off sexually on being able to control and force people to do things. The man, woman, this and that. I don't even think that mattered to him. I mean, he may have had a preference, but it obviously didn't matter because, at this point, there have been quite a few male accusers as well. And so if there's any merit to any of it, obviously, it was the control that he got off on. She did say in that same discussion there that you heard that later on she actually was drugged and then she woke up and didn't know what happened and this and that. So apparently she too was assaulted by Diddy. But you hear something like that, it's not very much of a far cry that he would do something to minors or Justin Bieber, to be honest with you. So I feel bad for Bieber, man. Um, I'm sure he'll never see this, but dude, if you do, it's not your fault. Bieber actually said that he wished he had never met him, never collaborated with him on anything. He completely regrets any relationship, whether it was appropriate or not, with Sean Diddy Combs. And, I think that if you were Justin Bieber and you had the 48 hours, the few days, and you had several instances where you were spending, a decent amount of time with this individual and alone as well, and he never did anything like that to you or never touched you or did anything inappropriate to you or anything like that, it seems like you would be speaking up for on behalf of that person, like, oh, he never did anything to me. I mean, you remember that happened with Michael Jackson back, and he got accused of something else or another, and Macaulay Culkin was actually close with Michael Jackson when he was a younger kid, and he actually came forward in defense of Michael Jackson and was like, "Hey, he never did anything like that to me. I never saw anything like that." Because for one thing, people were accusing, well, maybe he did something to Macaulay Culkin, so it could have been that he was just clearing that up, like clearing his name, like, no, he ever did anything to me. But I think too that he had a respect for and developed a friendship with Michael Jackson, and I think that he didn't believe that Michael Jackson was that type of person and would do something like that. So he stood up for him, made a public statement saying, well, he never did anything like that to me. I can't speak for other people, but, nothing ever happened with me. You don't see any of that with Diddy, you know? I mean, you don't see anybody like Justin Bieber or Usher or any of these other people. You don't see them going out of their way, making a concerted effort to say, "No, this is all bullshit." I, I personally don't think he did any of this stuff. You don't hear anybody saying that. I hadn't heard anybody saying that except maybe his family and his lawyers. That's about it. Everybody else is just kind of keeping their mouths shut and staying out of it. My point being, if he wasn't guilty of a lot of these things, people who were close to him and who knew him and who spent time with him, they wouldn't just be staying out of it and keeping their mouths closed. They would be coming to bat for him. But nobody is. That's very telling. Like the video if you would. Do subscribe to the channel. That really, really helps. That's all I ask. I make all this content. All I ask is that you subscribe. That's it. That's your payment. All right? And comment. Let me know what you guys think about all this. That's it. Hope you guys have a good evening. Thanks so much for watching. And I will see you on the next video.